Good morning. Welcome to Energy Works. Today we're talking about it's not me, it's my hormones, which I have to say, I sometimes felt that was an excuse, but the more that I listen to stuff, the more I think, oh, well, I got that wrong. And maybe it's my arrogance that I didn't understand exactly how some people felt. So I was listening to a podcast with Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, and Maraschino. I might have. She was talking about the research they're doing on the brain in regards to menopause and the different, times of our life. And of course, a lot of women will comment too when they're pregnant that they have baby brain. And so the hormones definitely do affect how the brain works, and even the way the brain lights up in scans. So it's like our hormones really do have this huge effect. Like there's this loop all the time between the brain and the ovaries, and they talk to each other. Even after your periods have finished, it's still the loop is still there. So it's important that we give our body every opportunity for our hormones to work better. So, there's the usual suspect, caffeine, alcohol, eating foods that break down slowly into sugars, eating, non-processed foods, eating proteins that are, grass-fed, wild caught if they're fish, to have the least amount of toxins. And of course, the body products that we use often are endocrine disruptors. So it's like trying to remove as many of those things out of your life and out of your diet as possible. Even plastics leak estrogens. So it's like the food that we eat then has hormones in it as well, inadvertently by how we've stored it. So it's like learning to clean up our environment, our diet, even our thinking, and the way that we're going to take care of our body is really important. Okay. All right, so second chakra, which is about our balancing money, sex, and power. All right, I allow others respect and space to be who they really are. And I guess it's hard to, as women, we can tend to think about other people's needs before our own, and it becomes almost a foreign concept to think about what we want or what we like or what works for us. For some women, not all women. Particularly the obligers. So, how can we help ourselves to feel more able to honor ourselves and to respect our body and to allow those connections between our brain and our hormonal system to function? All right, I have patience with myself and others. Now, I make mistakes. I had an experience this week where I've inadvertently offended somebody, and I feel very upset about that. So it's like needing to be able to understand more fully how other people feel and how their feelings are affecting them and how it's affecting their body. Right. I allow others to grow when they're ready to do so. So often we want people to grow like now, not prepared to allow them to grow in their own time and space and way. All right, so now we're going to go into the crown chakra. So measuring personal success and outcomes. All right, age 16. Age 27. So things in our cranium that aren't sitting right. Back right side of the head. Feelings of self-rejection. Which is easy to happen, isn't it? When things in our body don't go exactly right, or we don't feel like our brain is working correctly, we can feel like we want to reject our body or reject ourselves or reject the parts of ourselves that we feel are not right. Right, I'm going to jump up into that. Oh, good morning, Jackie. Yes, we're talking about our hormones. We're just going into the 10th chakra now. So, have you had experiences where your hormones have affected your brain? Right, so the oil elevation. Right, elevation can assist individuals in letting go of lower energy vibrations. Negative habits lose their appeal as an individual shifts into higher levels of consciousness. This blend can raise one's energy levels and energetic vibrations into higher states. It can inspire feelings of cheerfulness, brightness, courage, relaxation, humor, playfulness, and fun. It teaches that worry and fear are not productive, but faith, hope, and determination are. These oils redirect the brain pathways to transform despair into happiness, joy, and abundance. Elevation supports individuals in flowing with life while remaining in peace and light. So sometimes that is hard, isn't it? We're not in peace and light. We're kind of in aggravation or desperation or frustration. All right, so you might use your elevation oil to help you feel more abundant. And Jackie's commented, thank you, Jackie. Had so much fun. I had brain fog, a swimming pool of night sweats, hot flushes, and the cloak of my care was dropped for the self-seeking tantrums took over. Yeah, it's like you're going to survival mode, isn't it? Because you're not okay. And it's hard to explain to anyone why you're not okay. So people that have methylation defects, which is where your body can't detoxify properly. So it's like if we use folic acid as an example, it's like if people keep giving you folic acid, but you don't have the enzyme to use it. It's like someone giving you lots of firewood and you don't have a fireplace. So in the end, it's like, what am I going to do with all this firewood? So when our body can't process folic acid, it affects our heart attack risk, it affects our hormones, it affects our joint repair, it affects how our thyroid hormones work. There's a lot of things that are affected. So it's like trying to help our biochemistry be the best it can be is important for our hormonal balance. And there was a lot of controversy in the 90s, I think. There was some studies that were suggesting perhaps there was an association between cancer and hormone replacement, but apparently some of these studies were a little flawed, and they gave the women huge doses of hormones. It was not like a moderate dose. So now they're trying to use bioidentical hormones that are the same as ours to help that to help our body, because we need the estrogen to help that communication. So Jackie's saying, I was saying for years I can't do this anymore, but I couldn't explain why when I had been able 50 odd years. Yeah, it's hard because people just think you're nuts, but they're showing more and more proof now that that's true. So anyway, I use some bioidentical hormones as well. I don't know, exactly if that's the be all and end all. And, she's saying estradiol is the main hormone that is what helps us, to feel feminine, help that communication. So when our ovaries cease to make as much estrogen, they use estrone, but is not as strong. So like they give women a balance between progesterone, estrogen, a little bit of testosterone, DHEA. So, I don't know if that's the whole answer as well, but I really feel that we need to talk to each person's body about it. And, I'm still learning. I wouldn't say I was the expert on this at all, but I figured we could do a call on it to help clear some energy around that. Some more cranial work again, this time inside the mouth. So When you're growing and developing, your palate should be nice and round and a nice dome. And then sometimes if we've been bottle fed or had a dummy, or sometimes the poor food that we have causes the inside of the palate to be like this, and then there's not as much room for air to get through. So it's like when it's like that, of course, there's lots of air. Now, when you're younger, the air isn't as critical as it is when you get older. And so then we're more likely to get like sleep apnea. And, if we have allergies and inflammation in our nasal passages and in our throat, then we again restrict the airflow. So it's like trying to help our body to have its best chance of working ideally. All right, so even if you feel in your palate and it's like that, if you touch like inside your teeth and as you breathe in, like breathe in, and then as you breathe out, pull apart inside your mouth. And it's a slow back to China, but even if you work on trying to encourage the widening of your palate, you can go to, temporomandibular joint, jaw specialists, dentists, orthodontists, people that work with that sort of thing too, to try and help. They can put expanders in to widen the mouth to help that air get through. All right. So sometimes you can feel in the roof of your mouth there are parts that are sore. So even if you push on that and see if you can find a matching spot, like there's ridges along your head here, and there's usually matching spots to go with it. So see if you can feel a spot that's tender that connects with whatever you find in the roof of the mouth, and you push those. And then you give yourself a little deep tendon reflex. All right, so Jackie's mentioned I'm using HRT and VagiFem. Okay, so I don't know much about VagiFem, but I think all hands on deck when helping with our hormones. All right, so we're just asking now if there's something else to clear from inside our mouth. All right, age 15. Jackie said, found the spot. Okay, good job. Yeah. And then, push both of those a few times and then give yourself a tap. Now, sometimes we have to find a different type of receptor, but anything that you do and do a deep tendon reflex just calms down the nervous system. All right. All right, we're going back to the crown chakra. So what is the tap? The tap's a deep tendon reflex. So if I hold my arm up, and it's a bit hard to do it, but if you can let your hand flop, and if you tap on your arm up here, it makes these muscles fire. So that's a deep tendon reflex. So if you hit you could do it with your knee too. If you're sitting on a chair where your knees are hanging down, if you hit your knee just under the patella, under the kneecap, your leg will fly up. That's a deep tendon reflex, and that helps reset the nervous system. It kind of calms it down a little bit. All right. All right, I choose to have a high, joyous vibration. It's a good place to start, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard to have a high vibration, and we need to get external help. Sometimes we might need to listen to uplifting music. We might need to pray. We might need to meditate. We might need to, put our feet in the grass or walk out in. Jesus, 15, my most hormonal PMT queen. Yes, I can imagine. Yeah. And, we're from a country that has no zinc in its soil, and she couldn't do the arm, but she got the knee. Go, good job. You did it. Yeah, so you stimulate both of them and then you tap your knee. Good. All right. So if we're struggling to have a high, joyous, high vibration, we're just clearing some energy around that. So something in our genes, dad's mum, and the men on that side. 93 generations of men. All right, something in the back. L3. Experiencing chaos. L3 also is bladder problems, sexual dysfunction, problems with the reproductive system, painful periods, incontinence, impotency, and knee pain. So they're all from L3. All right, age 17. And age 48. And of course, that's when our hormones start to change. So from about age 35, our progesterone gets lower. And progesterone is like the good part of being female. Estrogen, if it's too high, if we have, fake estrogens, can cause, like breast tenderness and headaches. And there's a lot of downsides as well. So it's like we need the progesterone as well. So some people use like wild yam cream to help support their progesterone. All right, more cranial things. Back of the left side of the head. Reactions to feelings. Good morning, Susanna. Good morning, Elizabeth. So we're talking about how our hormones affect our brain. All right, I'm easily assimilating all my life experiences. So that would make sense too, isn't it? Sometimes we are overwhelmed by our experiences, and when our brain isn't functioning the best, it's like we can't sort the mail. All the experiences need to be put into the right part of the brain at night. And also our brain at night closes down, and the cerebrospinal fluid does this big sweep to help detoxify the brain. But of course, if we don't get that nice deep sleep, then sometimes that doesn't happen. All right, so now we need to clear some things around sleep. So I'm able to sleep. And of course, as per usual, if you tell me where your body's complaining. Jackie talks about, I remember having progesterone wild yam when I was seeing you when the kids were young. Yeah, I used to get some of that, but I haven't had it for a long time. But there are some brands that are quite reasonable. All right, so, sorry, we're working on our sleep. Elizabeth says eyes and neck, okay. Okay, right leg calf from Jackie. Also have watery eyes, allergy related. Okay, thank you. Right, so some feelings that we're reacting to. All right, the left side of the body, the feminine side, the spiritual side. So some generational baggage from dad's mum around the femininity. C3 in the neck. Feeling impatient. Age 16 with the impatience. Our impatience with other people. And not being able to express your impatience, sort of having to swallow it. More in the crown. Elizabeth says yes, very, okay. So sometimes we can get stuck in this. It's all about me. I can't talk about or focus on anyone else's needs. But as a mother, that's such a quandary, isn't it? So dad's mum, that one comes from. All right, so, and Jackie's mentioned impatience with others getting to my expectation. Right. All right, emotionally withdrawing. Okay, so Jackie says, oh, that sounds like me. Okay. Yeah, so sometimes then it's hard to stay vulnerable and open with people when you don't feel heard or understood, or that people are not in a place that they can take on your feelings. They often they can't deal with their own feelings, so it's like there's no way that they can deal with yours. And sometimes we feel like that. Right, unable to relax. Imbalanced in my right and left hemispheres. So, one can be more maybe methodical or logical, whereas the other side can be more intuitive, more trusting your gut. So it's like having that imbalance between which part of you you're listening to. I remember that I'm always spiritually connected. And I think too, I feel like I need to do this more myself, to think at the end of the day, how could I see God's hand in my life? How could I see that I was helped in some small way? May not be in everything and in all ways, but was I helped? Am I loved? Sometimes it's hard to feel that. I'm able to feel God's love. Is like, no. Prime example, asked my brother to not mow my lawn because it's dried out, and I got an oppositional reaction rather than a yes. Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because their perception of why we do things is different to ours. It's like ticking a box and we need to do that job, or maybe even to feel like he's supporting or pulling his weight. And so then they can feel that we're inhibiting their ability to do what they need to do. All right, so I'm forgiving myself when, yes, because Dad wanted him to do it. Okay. So I forgive myself when others don't understand me. I forgive myself when I can't communicate it properly. Yeah, age 3. All right, so he's always seeking Dad's approval. Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Boys do want their dad's approval. I think too, with people that are adopted, it is hard because they've had a rejection already, and they often have very strong feelings of abandonment. And so it's like very strong desire and need to to be loved and to be accepted and to feel part of the family and feel an important part. Some generational baggage here from mum's mum as well. All right. It's okay for me to see other people's failings or difficulties without taking judgment on myself. All right, Jackie said the pain he had in his mum's womb was probably pretty hard. Yeah, it must be very hard. All right, we're coming back to that one. I remember I'm always spiritually connected. So even though we may be rejected by our birth parents, God is still mindful of us and where we are. And we are often given very difficult experiences to go through, really hard stuff. But it's like trusting that we become better people through these experiences, more loving, more tolerant, more accepting of God's will for us. So we can ask to release the trauma for both of you from being in the womb, and all of us perhaps for, the times where our parents weren't quite ready for us or not quite ready to deal with life. Right, age 7, age 14, all right. So it's okay for me to see others' faults and weaknesses and be able to love them anyway. I'm able to love myself anyway. So sometimes we can be very hard on ourselves when we make a mistake or when we get it wrong or when we can't help people in the manner that we wish we could. It's hard not to take that personally and to feel that we are not okay. And we're going into the brow chakra. I am safe to share my intuition. Sometimes we can be quite inspired about what we feel and what we understand, and even to help others. And sometimes we need to get external help to help them feel that we're patient with them, even though it's not exactly how we want it to be. We're trusting that they're going to learn, and even if it takes time and it's not as fast as we would like, that we can still love them anyway. We might not like their actions, but we can love them. All right. So it's still about I'm safe to share my intuition. comes back to birth, our own feeling. And sometimes we feel like a stranger in a strange land in our families. We don't always feel as understood or as heard as we would like to be. So I'm accepted as I am. Age 5, age 12, all right, back to the 10th chakra. In that right calf, something from when you were 16. I think through my every action and its consequence. Oh, thanks, Susanna. She said, my hormones feel safe. So age 3. So it'd be your mum's hormones when you were 3. Not feeling safe with your mum's hormones. And age 17, more likely our own hormones. Right, some sort of bug underlying affecting our hormonal system. So bacteria in the thalamus, pituitary. In the thalamus, feeling criticized. And often people criticize us when they are worried that we might do something that could hurt ourselves or make ourselves look bad or make them look bad. So it's like then they want to shut us down. So it's like it's their own reaction to their feelings. So my hormones feel safe. That's a bit stronger now. Great affirmations, Alana. So back to these, so we're talking about the bacteria in the thalamus and the pituitary. So these go back to your birth. Right, so not feeling welcomed and deeply loved. also age 15. And, teenagers can be difficult to deal with, and sometimes our parents didn't know what to do or how to help us or how to teach us what to do. And also, back at that time, a lot of people didn't understand about the toxicity of the body products we used and the household products that we used and how they can affect our hormones and our brain. Like, I remember being pregnant with the first child and cleaning the roof with exit mold. How toxic. And balancing on a stool, very, very pregnant. So it's like, and definitely not listening to anyone telling me I can't do it. So, not knowing better, we've done things inadvertently that are perhaps toxic, and we pay the price later as our body has to detoxify the things that got stuck in there. All right, we're going back to the crown chakra again. So the crown chakra's been a bit like Sesame Street this week, brought to you by the crown chakra. Okay. All right, so frankincense. So frankincense is great for the brain. Some people put a drop on the tip of their thumb or finger and up in the roof of the mouth to go straight to the brain because that's the closest access point. All right, so frankincense supports in creating a healthy attachment with one's father. So it's our earthly father and also our heavenly father. It assists in spiritual awakening and helps individuals feel the love of the divine. So we all need to feel that we are loved and that we're not forgotten and not rubbish. We're loved and cared for, and our Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother love us deeply. So when they have felt abandoned or forgotten, frankincense reminds them that they are loved and protected. So if you have some, I want you to use it to remember that you are loved, deeply loved. While this oil is incredibly powerful, it is also gentle, like a loving father who nurtures, guides, and protects. Frankincense shields the body and soul from negative influences and assists the soul in its spiritual evolution. So we learn a lot about ourselves, don't we, as we get older, the good, the bad, and the ugly, literally. Enhancing practices of prayer and meditation, this oil opens spiritual channels that allow an individual to connect to God. Through the light and power of frankincense, the individual can draw closer to divinity, healthy masculinity, and the grandeur of the true self. So if I could give you a hug, I would, and want you to feel loved. I want you to feel that your Heavenly Father and Heavenly Mother love you. I'm a mere mortal that makes lots of mistakes, but I want to send you love as well, to feel that, whatever problem we have, we're going to work through it. We're going to not give up. We're going to keep on going until we get to the bottom. I'm greater than any possession or relationship I have, and you are. I allow myself to be led by God. I'm connected to my earth family and my heavenly family. I'm safe. Thank you, everybody, for the love. you all have important roles to play in the people around you, and you may feel that you're powerless. I love that, Jackie. She says, let's sprinkle the world with frankincense. Yeah, we can plug it in for the world. Right, so it's interesting. They talk about when a mother gives birth to a girl, that her ovaries are already filled with eggs. So it's like the grandmother is carrying her grandchildren in a way. And so we are so connected divinely and also femininely to each other. And, you know, how we see the world is affected by our birth and our family and the things that are around us. And even the experiences that our mother and grandmother have been through also colour our the way our body works by epigenetics. All right, so let's just do a little bit on that. All right. All right, so there's the 4 DNA bases and a RNA base. So uracil's an RNA base. So U to C. Now, I don't have a chart with me at the moment to talk about which one that is. All right, age 12 connected. So whether we got sick or something happened that's affected our DNA at that time. All right, some generational baggage from dad's side of the family and the men. Like 73 generations of men. Also having reactions to our feelings, like 42 different feelings. So lavender can calm down the reaction of an allergy. And lavender is also about communication. So sometimes it's hard to explain to people how we feel. So lavender, communication and calm. Lavender supports individuals in releasing the tension and constriction that stems from withheld expression. This bottleneck in communication can result in worried and racing thoughts, anxiousness, and sleep disruption. Due to past experiences, they may feel unsafe or fearful of expressing themselves because of potential rejection. Often they don't allow themselves space to get in touch with all they truly think and feel. Their true voice is therefore trapped within and goes unexpressed. Strong feelings of being unlovable, unimportant, or unheard can accompany this condition. I just flipped past another oil. I'm just going to mention Island Mint is about respite. So Island Mint opens the upper chakras, lifting individual into higher vibratory states. Sorry about that. This allows for clear insight with which to recognize the unconscious fears and limiting beliefs that are holding them back. Releasing these dense elements from the mind and heart allows them to tap into wells of natural enthusiasm and positivity. Island Mint invites all to expand into their full brilliance and rise to meet their life. Okay. All right. Thank you so much to those that are on the call. Can we check in with the bits that are sore? The calf, the eyes watering, the neck. Something else with the eyes from Lisa. Thank you, Susanna. Well, certainly don't have all the answers, but anyway, willing to be along your journey to help make it easier if possible. We all need to feel like we're loved and accepted and that, our needs are important. Like that, Jackie says, I lavendered me. Good job. Yeah. All right. You're all beautiful people and grateful to know you, and keep shining your beautiful light. See you.